And good Tuesday morning. You are listening to WBRT. It is your hometown radio station. My name is Ryan Hack, broadcasting to you from the Colton Steakhouse and Grill studio right here in the illustrious city of Bardstown. And I am, of course, joined here today for Around the County with Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins by the judge himself. How are we doing?
How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing just fine.
It's a nice day. I've got a nice guest with me today, and I don't think I can hear myself. Is this thing hot or not?
You're coming through. I'll check your headphones here in just a moment.
Vanessa's here with me today. She manages the Code Enforcement Department division of the county, and so she's probably been doing that. How long have you been doing it, Vanessa?
Since July.
Since July?
July. I've been there almost 2 years, but took over in July.
And so she takes all the building permits, and she does actually work with Teresa some on which Teresa does the garbage and occupational tax, and she helps support her. And she got different, several different hats on. She helps, anyway, all the building permits, electrical permits, communication, and then so one thing the reason I brought her on here today is because we've kind of revamped that office quite a bit, and then she's taken over the nuisance ordinance side of it, which has been a pretty big challenge for me since I've been there, because we've had to restructure that, and then we've had one of our main individuals there had some health problems. He was out for a while, and we brought in some temporary help, but now we've got it worked out pretty good, and I think it's working a whole lot better. So first of all, we'll thank you, Joe Hills Power Sports, again for sponsoring this show. And the number here is 348-2222. Is that correct?
Yeah, and they can call. We're currently suffering from some internet issues, so they'll have to call in this morning.
So I'm having some internet issues. I had some also, so they can call 348-2222. I guess if you want to text, you can text my cell phone, 249-0816, because you cannot text the 348-2222. Now, you can call that number. Text my number, 249-0816, if you don't want to talk. I've got my phone here. So that way I can take text if you got any questions. And you don't have to give your name unless you want to. If you call, you don't have to give your name. You can't give your name. So, and the office number is at my office 348-1800. If you ever got any issues or complaints or problems or concerns or maybe even some compliments, that'd be great. So,
if you keep it up, that sort of thing. You had mentioned that you and your office had been, I don't know if maybe the word's encountering some trouble with, but stuff regarding nuisance ordinance. I mean, I myself, I don't think I knew until very recently what that even is, what that entails.
Well, that's one reason I brought Vanessa with me today, and Vanessa, you go ahead, and anybody's got any questions or calls for Vanessa, but you can talk about the office if you want, and we have two fairly new gentlemen that's helping us do this part-time. So, Vanessa, you want to talk about anything you want to talk about, really?
Sure. On the nuisance side, we take complaints from the county residents in regards to if neighboring garbage, junked vehicles, loud interruptions, just pretty much any concerns that you have. They can call into the office. They do not have to give any information, so it can be anonymous. We also have a new system now. It's called iWork, where you can go onto our website. You can actually submit complaints through there. Once that complaint comes in, I have two guys that work with me and help me, and that's Casey Powell and James Woodrum. And so the way the process works, the complaint comes through. We go out, confirm that it is an actual valid complaint, and then once we do confirm that, we move forward with trying to make contact the same day with the residents. If we do not make contact, we issue a letter out asking them to take care of the complaint in a timely manner. We usually give them, a couple of weeks, depending on the issue, on the time frame. Sometimes we never hear back. Sometimes complaints are never fixed. We have to continuously follow up, and that's what we do. We do have some great people that call in, get them resolved quickly, and take care of it. If they're not resolved, the one thing that I'm trying to push out to the county is that we are trying. I can't stress enough how much we do try to get this resolved, but there's only so much we can do. We can't physically go onto your property and have somebody come in and clean it up. But once we do not have anyone working with us, we do have to move over and send it to the county attorney's office, which then would cause the person to end up in court. And we don't want that. I don't want that at all for anyone personally. I would rather you work with me. We have resources, that can go out and help. If you have junked vehicles that you can't get moved, we have agreements with people that will come and remove those and possibly help you get money out of those vehicles. We can also, and some people kind of leer away from this, we do have inmates that do come out and help, and in that situation you would have to sign off on a waiver saying that they could clean up your property. They've helped us tons in the courthouse with our renovations and stuff, and it's been great. So, but again, if they are having any complaints or issues, you can call me at 348-1862, or you can do it through online at nelsoncountyky.gov.
So nelsoncountyky.gov, and folks can go to that website if they, I guess, believe or have reason to believe that, say, property or something like that is in violation of
Yes.
that ordinance.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are, so you listed like junk vehicles, things like that. Is that kind of the most common issue that
Our
comes up?
most common is normally garbage. We do have a lot of garbage issues where people are just throwing trash out, into their yards, or just clutter that sits there. We do get a lot of junked vehicles. Sometimes they're not necessarily junked. Your license and registration has to be up to date in order to keep the vehicles on your property. As long as that's up to date, we don't make a big deal out of it. We try to work with you as much as possible.
I see. It definitely sounds a lot more like you guys hear about a situation and go out and try and resolve that situation rather than hey, fix this, or we're sending the courts
Right.
after you.
No, we do work. We try multiple times to make contact. We're out usually weekly or bi-weekly trying to get in contact. And if we're not making that contact, we are sending the letters. We do send certified letters. Most of the time the certified letters do come back. They'll deny them. And in that situation, when they do deny the certified, that's an automatic, we try to send them over to court because they're not willing to work with us. And that's not what we want.
Yeah. Ryan, it's like you said, I think earlier you didn't even realize there was such thing as a nuisance ordinance. And that's been in place probably 25, 30 years, maybe longer, I don't know.
When I heard, discussion about it, I actually looked for the document online, and I thought, I've not, is this recent? No, it was I think the document's about as old as I am, actually.
Yeah, it's been in place for years. It's nothing new to the county. But when I did get elected and took office, when I was campaigning, going over the county, talking to, thousands of people, and that was a pretty consistent complaint that the county has not done a very good job of enforcing this and trying to keep the county cleaned up. And I've tried to make it one of my top priorities, and there's a few people that may not like that, but when you have junk and trash and debris and Johnson grass going up 6 foot tall, and continuous neighbors complaining about snakes and rats and roaches, and the concern is, do you take people's rights away? You can hear that fine line, and I get it and I agree with it, but especially in a subdivision setting, when you got houses fairly close together, it's when it gets to be more of a complaint, I would say. You don't realize what the rodents and stuff, you hear about this all over the year, but there is diseases and things that they can cause, and basically, you've heard me say it, I'm not being bashful about it, it's an eyesore to the community. And you've got people that's trying to keep their places neat and clean, and the neighbors just don't care and junk it up and devalue their property. And if you do come to the point you want to sell your property, you're not going to get the maximum value out of it because, you get to some neighbors got all this junk and trash everywhere. So
Now, at what point does it go from, somebody exercising their rights to, live how they choose, or, they're infringing on the happiness of their neighbors,
I'd say that would have to go to somewhere along, if it goes to circuit court eventually, and some of them have gone there, it goes to district court, and it could go on further if people get challenged. I think, and Vanessa, you correct me if I'm wrong on this, we've got this thing actually simplified. We got it down pat a lot better, and she's done a great job. The two gentlemen that we've got helping us enforce, they do a full-time job, and they do this part-time, and we've got them doing several things, and I will say 50% of the people react pretty quick. 25% may complain a little bit, but then they end up following through. Then you got about 25% that you have to really go after and send more letters, and then it can go to the county attorney, and then it gets in the court system, and just let the public know when it gets that far, it's not say out of our hands, but it's pretty much taken out of our hands. It comes to the judge, and they have to finally crack down on it. And now Vanessa did say a while ago about cleaning up properties, inmates, and we are. Or one of my we've updated a bunch of different ordinances and policies in the county, just kind of cleaned up that's outdated, and for whatever reason, now some of this ties in with planning and zoning. Planning and zoning has if somebody's trying to run a business without a conditional use permit, or they've got a bunch of stuff piled up that they're doing, and it's a kind of the nuisance ordinance and the planning and zoning, some of that is it gets what level did it go to planning and zoning side. So we're trying to work with our new director. We're going to sit down and meet with him and try to get that simplified a little bit better, where we can actually work hand in hand. And then Amber at the city of Barstown, I think she does a pretty good job, or a good job at what she does. So we'll try to communicate. I think that's better. We're working with her.
Amber's great. She's actually helped us a lot. She came and sat down and had a meeting with us and gave us a lot of direction. So.
And we pretty much enforce Bloomfields and New Havens and Fairfields, which goes under the county umbrella, even though they're a separate city. So the city of Barstow has their own nuisance ordinance, and you got a lot more density, So, especially when you get into the subdivisions and then the city limits, and that's when the people complain about the grass. A lot of times the grass is too high, and people not maintaining that. So we're working. We're trying not to infringe on anybody's properties, but at the end of the day, we're asking everybody to keep their properties cleaned up, and we'll try to work with you. Now, but going back to the county, now we do have the right to go in if the judge approves it, and we can go in and clean it all up and put a lien on the property. So we don't really want to go that far, but there is a provision in it that allows us to do that, and they have done it. I've done it in the past, and I don't think they've done it since I've been here yet, but there is those opportunities to do that. So one thing I want to tell while I'm on here, a little bit off subject, but it could get into the subject real quick, is I'm just checking my phone, make sure I didn't get any text messages, and again, anybody can call 348-2222, 348-2222. I'm having a press conference today at 4 o'clock, a live press conference at the fiscal courtroom about all this flooding and damage across the county. New Haven was hit hard. Boston was hit extremely hard, but there's other places around the county. There's several road failures that that the flooding has caused. We got FEMA on board trying to help the people that's going to need the resources. We've got Gina, my wife, we started at whatever day it was, and got the Civic Center going, and people taking donations. She's done there now. We've had a bunch of volunteers that would come into the Civic Center, and we've got a abundant. You can go on our fiscal court site and look it up, what they're asking for. We've got all kinds of supplies coming in there, and after 4 o'clock, I can take them to the fire department, city fire department number 1, and drop off. Today, let's see, today will be the last day. Let me think about this a minute. Well, we'll probably disclose that tonight when we talk at our press conference, but the Civic Center will be used, I think, Thursday, so we have to clean everything out of there tomorrow. We'll do it probably first thing in the morning, and we'll have some more information to share on that. We're going to load everything up and take it down to the Boston area, and then we've got other people bringing in things. And the Boston school, we got to get out of there probably in the next day or so. We'll be announcing that too, and we'll have it set up probably in behind where the Boston Food Mart is, the parking lot with a bunch of trailers. And so we'll get that all planned out, and we'll disclose all that tonight, so people can still bring things down to the Civic Center as we speak. And we've had a lot of volunteers to man it, and it kind of gets back into cleaning up the properties, because it's going to be a mess. Mm-hmm. And we've got roll-off boxes at New Haven right now, I think 2 different locations where people's cleaning up, and they can dump it in the big roll-off boxes for the landfill. And then we'll be putting probably 2 or 3 or 4 at Boston where people can haul and dump it. And then we'll probably announce that we'll do another bulky item pickup in the Boston area sometime in the near future as this thing recedes. The water's starting to go down a little bit now. I think it's maybe 6-8 inches below the high point. And but there's a lot of homes that it got into. We've had to evacuate a lot of people, and we've had some people coming in from the rescues in Georgia, and all the fire departments has helped out. And Brad Metcalf is my EMA director, and he's done a good job at organizing and keeping everybody together. And police, fire, ambulance, and we've had people come from everywhere to help out in the situation. And I don't really want to get into too much of that today, but because at the press conference tonight at 4 o'clock at the fiscal court, we'll have a lot of discussion. And we do have several roads that's failing and actually settling and shifting, and we got a mudslide over in the New Hope area. There's actually a house sits up on top of the knob, and so it's affecting a lot more than what the average person will see. So it costs a lot of money some of these roads that's beside the rivers and creeks, and it's going to take a lot of money to get those built back up. So we'll talk about that again tonight. So. But we will have some announcements coming about helping people with their trash and junk and everything kind of related to today's subject.
I don't know if you were planning on talking about this later on at that press conference, but usually in times like this, we hear a lot of declared state of emergency. Governors have declared a state of emergency. You and the mayor of Bardstown, Dick Heaton, did so, and I guess like a lot of people, like they see that and they think like, oh goodness, there's something happening. But I don't know how many people maybe like read the actual text of those orders, what that means, what that really means.
Well, I think if you read the details of it, when of course the governor or the president or even comes down to the judge side, it gives you authority to do a lot of things that not to say you want to break the law, but it allows you to do some things without any fiscal court action. If basically there's a limit on what you can do as a judge, spending money, resources, you want to go through the fiscal court and city council, and we don't have an abundant amount of money. The governor, I think he's got up to $120 million in their budget for emergencies he can do without the assembly up there with their vote, unless they call a special session. I was talking to Jimmy Higdon last night. Senator Higdon was at Boston, and we went to New Haven, and then the Candy Mastroni representative, she's been down there since this thing started every day and half the night, and we've had a bunch of our people down there, and there's been a lot of good help and making sure but it's statewide. This is not here. What we're talking about is here, but we're evacuating, or Bullock County is evacuating their jail, and they're bringing some prisoners and inmates to the Nels County Jail and surrounding jails, and Justin, Jailer Hall, is helping with that process, and so it's a statewide problem. You know, Bullock County got hit very hard, in Jefferson, Louisville, up Carrollton. There's a lot of places. I was talking to Thomas Massey's representative last night, and up in the Carroll County, up in there. So that's it's not just here, but the Boston area has definitely got hit worse than any other place around here. New Haven had several businesses. I don't know how many residents got in the New Haven area, but you know, several businesses right around that area got hit. But you know, I went down there last night, and they've really cleaned New Haven up quick. I mean, them guys, they had their fire trucks and washing everything off, and it's they did a great job. But so back to the nuisance ordinance with Vanessa, so that would help, like I say, the Boston area for sure. It's an opportunity to clean up your properties. Even if it didn't get flooded, it'd be a good time to take advantage of it. And you know, we had our Buckley item pickup. Let's see, where are we at now? Up toward the Chaplin area? I think we got about another week, 3 or 4 days left on the regular bulky item pickup. So that would be, this would be as very helpful to, we don't even know, we haven't identified, we should know about it. Maybe tonight, I don't know, we got to do the mapping and see how many homes actually that the water got into until you see the overview of the map. And we got some people working on that now, Brad Metcalf and the city, David Evans, that does the 911 mapping. He's helping us try to, because we got to prove all this to FEMA. Then you get your floodplain coordinator. I mean, there's a lot to it, and hopefully we can get reimbursed, and the FEMA will come in and help some of this. See, a lot of people, you can't get flood insurance. Mm-hmm. You know, your insurance won't pay anything, so.
To touch base on the flood of the houses and stuff, if you have flood damage and it caused your power to be out, you will have to have a licensed electrician to pull the permit to get those repairs done. And I handle that, so whoever, you know, the licensed electrician is, they will more than likely know to reach out to me. But I've already had one incident in New Haven this morning that we were trying to work on and get that fixed and resolved. I look for us to have a lot of that coming from Boston. So if a homeowner or an electrician has any questions on that, they can definitely reach out. When it comes to storm damage, I do want to make it known that we do not charge for the permit fee. We do waive those. We do it during snow in hopes that the electrician as well would waive that fee to the homeowner. So I look for a lot of that to come in soon.
Well, that's got to, yeah, when you get into electrical and wires and, you know, like I say, it's flooding. I don't know, I haven't really got a report yet on, if we've seen telephone poles that got pushed down or electrical wires, but definitely when that water's running, you know, there's a lot of pressure behind the water, and it could take, you know, anything in its path. And you get into the electrical side of it, want to make dang on sure nobody gets electrocuted. So
yeah, I think the power companies turned them off down in New Haven. I'm not sure which power company it was, but they said that it was turned off before the flooding started. Again, that's just coming from the residents, so I don't know if that's true or not, but that's where we stood on that.
And so if folks had their power affected by flooding, mm-hmm. they need to get a licensed electrician to
yes.
receive a permit to
do the repairs.
Gotcha.
Correct.
I see. And what's that phone number again?
It's 348-1862.
Gotcha. So if a homeowner or someone is, you know, has questions
yes.
about that, they just call that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And to talk about the building and electrical program, we also handle, you know, I cover the building and the electrical and the nuisance. So I have John Thompson, which is the building inspector. He's been great. He came on several months back. Then we have Paul Higgs, the electrical inspector, that's been with us almost a year now. It'll be a year in July. But if there is ever issues or complaints with contractors out in the field, you're more than welcome to contact me as well. I know we've had some concerns of people working without electrical license, doing the work on buildings and stuff. And that's not uncommon, but it's not allowed either. So if that happens and you're aware of it, you're welcome to call me at that number, 348-1862. We can definitely look into it. Normally what we would have to do is put a stop work order, do an investigation, and see how we handle things moving forward from there. So.
Absolutely. So if someone has concern about the work that is being done, they can also reach out.
Yes, definitely. And that does happen. We have concerns happen quite often. You know, is this happening right? I don't know if this is done right. And if that happens, we'll just send the inspector out again and, you know, just for reassurance or to see if there really is a problem.
Gotcha. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Yes,
and
yes.
Usually, you know, if you see something, it's best to say something, more
Yes.
than likely.
Yeah, right. I've got a text come through, and pretty sure, I don't know who this is, and it's fine, but got a wire down on, I don't know if it's an old wire or new wire. Excuse me. 49 J.R. Ballard Lane, Vanessa. I'll get you to follow up on that. Excuse me. Ohio Valley allergies killing me. I think this lady or whoever it is called and left a message yesterday, and I haven't got back with them yesterday evening. So
Okay.
there's a wire down there. I don't know if it's an old wire, new wire, or telephone wire. So we need to have somebody look at that and just to check it out.
Okay.
And you want to write this number down, 507-1568. I'll let you contact them about this. Thank you, whoever this is. And anybody else who wants to text, 249-0816, 249-0816. Live telephone, 348-2222, 348-2222.
Yeah. During any cleanup, any damage like that, it may be, it's one of those things where you might think it's obvious, like you see a down power line, not to approach it, not to touch it. But if you're, you know, if you've been out there for hours, you know, wading through mud and doing this and doing that, it might not be the first thing you think of,
Right.
but it's always important to, again, with any utilities that are affected, to really just, you know, stay away from it and let, you know, the professionals whose job it is to deal with that.
Yes, definitely.
Especially when it comes to electricity, because I've done a whole lot of things in my life, but I'm not an electrician. I mean, I don't like messing with it. Vanessa was saying earlier, we've got our electrical inspector, which is Paul Higgs. He's been there, like I say, 7, 8 months, 9 months, and we did go through some transition there for a few months, and I think we've got everything worked out pretty good. And if anybody does have any issues, they can call Vanessa's office. We've got John, was it Thompson?
Thompson, yes.
He's a contractor working for us. Paul is actually an employee. John Thompson is a contractor doing building inspections. The city of Barstown has enacted their own inspection department. I guess probably, I don't know.
Took effect in September.
It was September that they're doing their own inspections in the city limits now. And I'm assuming that's working out pretty good for them. They wanted to do more inspections and keep it, you know, with the density in the city and all the homes and close in proximity. What I have done, I've eliminated a lot of inspections out in the county as far as lean-tos and garages and tents and fences and a lot of things that have been in the books for years. I proposed that to the fiscal court. We approved it, and we eliminated a lot of the...
But garages aren't eliminated fully. Not
Yeah.
fully. They're under 1,000 square foot.
Yeah, 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where certain things you guys kind of deemed didn't necessarily need to meet the same level of, I suppose,
Yeah.
criteria.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll just be point blank about it. I think it was over-regulatory, and back when I was a magistrate, we voted to start doing the home inspection program. It was in I guess, late 90s, somewhere in that range. And it went pretty good. We inspected the new homes, and I think it worked out well. People responded to it pretty positively, and it kept everybody on the same playing field. And you take we had quite a few, in the 90s, there was a lot of homes being built, high numbers. Matter of fact, several years there was 400 and something a year. And a lot of complaints, lawsuits, failing footers, and so on. So we passed the home inspection program.
These homes, they weren't being built to the quality that a buyer would.
That's correct. And and we adopted that. I was a master at the fiscal court. Judge Watson, everybody went along with it pretty good. And then a few years later, they did what they call the expanded program, and I voted against it then. And I said if I ever got an opportunity to change it, I would. And I campaigned on that, and I did. And we have, and try to eliminate. When you get out into agriculture anyway, you got some exemptions in agriculture settings already. Some of it depends on how it's interpreted through the planning and zoning office, because it starts out there. They still have to get a land use permit, and then the next level it either goes to the city or the county. And then, like I say, we've simplified it. If you have to build a new house, add on to your house, you still have to get an inspection. But we have eliminated a bunch of that, what I call red tape, and people building tool sheds or lean-tos or whatever, and I just don't see where the inspector needs to come out and tell you how to do it. You know, me personally, I've been building barns and sheds and tool sheds and things all my life, and I don't think I need an inspector to come and tell me that I got to put my post 4 foot in the ground and show me how to do it. So that's just an example.
It's not a place where someone's going to be living and sleeping and children will be staying. It's a lot less, I guess, important in that regard. Yeah,
so the fiscal court, when I proposed all that, and they've adopted it, and I think it's been running pretty good. But the city decided to keep it, and they want to keep. They may have even expanded theirs a little stronger, and that's fine in the city limits. But countywide, we're not going to do all that. But anyway, it's been a little bit of hiccups there and a few roadblocks. But I think overall it's running good smoother,
now.
And the state pretty much. I caught a little bit of flack early on, but I think overall it's running pretty good now. So,
to explain that expanded jurisdiction, all that means is that we don't do like high hazard out in the county anymore. The warehouses, all of that stuff is inspected by state inspectors now. Our building program consists of commercial, 100 occupancy, 20,000 square feet or less, or residential, and the accessory structures that are over 1,000 square foot. Like he said, the expanded jurisdiction, it wasn't a lot for us anyway out in the county. I mean, you do have the warehouses going up, but at the same time, it was just more than we really need and what we wanted. The whole transitioning from city to county, there was a lot of complaints at first because they are having to go to zoning to get their compliance permit. Then they were having to either come to my office or to the city of Bardstown to get their permits. It's settled down finally, but that was the biggest complaint that we had at first, was the divide, and it was aggravating because they have multiple stops. But I do think the city needed what they're doing now. City limits is it's a different ballgame in there, and maybe they did need that program. And
plus, they had a historic district in
yes.
the city of Bardstown, so that makes it it's different. And the mayor and I, we worked out. We all sat down and we figured it out pretty good and worked out pretty good overall, so I think it's good. One thing I say is on that expanded jurisdiction side that Vanessa was related to, when we eliminated some of these inspections, actually the commercial is state law. I mean, you have to do commercial by state anyway. It's state law. We didn't overrule that, didn't try to overrule it. I think it needs to be inspected. And then electrical is state law. Plumbing is state law. The plumbers always go through and they pull the permits when you're building anything. The plumbers do that. HVAC is state law, and they got a local HVAC inspector that does that. So, but building inspections, when it comes to residential, probably there's 120 counties in the state of Kentucky, and I'm going to say less than 50% of them, probably only 30% have what we call the building inspection program, residential, and we're one of them. And but that's not state law. It's a local ordinance that we adopted, and then you got to follow the guidelines. And I think overall it's worked pretty good. So I think we're just trying to make things a little bit easier on people as much as possible.
I didn't know if we'd heard anything more. Maybe you felt like discussing more the matter of there was some legislation regarding short-term rentals on the state level.
Right. They I talked about that a little bit, but briefly, I will tell you the Airbnbs, and there's several of those different organizations that apparently have got a lot of money and lobbying groups, and they're trying to get some laws passed in the state of Kentucky. Basically take local control, local jurisdiction out of it. Depends on what side of the fence you're on. If you own an Airbnb or you got a place you want to put one and you may be in favor of it, that's an income. But it's become I'd say a problem. I would say a nightmare, but it's become a bigger problem for most of the people that live in the city limits. And the city of Bardstown passed a rule that you got to be so many feet apart and separation and all that about 2 or 3 years ago. County has not done that yet. I wouldn't doubt if it's something don't get brought up and proposed to me, because we're getting so many of them across the county. And the problem, the problem that we see is, first of all, when the state takes local control out of it, to me, that's a no-no. And Mayor Heaton and I, we've had all the different, Senator Higdon and County Mastrono, we've been fighting this bill that they try to pass. And then at the planning and zoning side, right now, it goes through what they call the Local Board of Adjustments, which is a wing of planning and zoning. If that bill passed, the local residents have no input, no say, no public hearings, no nothing. And when they start doing that, that's when it takes away local, I even hate to say word control, but local input. So we fought it, and it got killed in the Senate. It passed the House, the Senate tried to water it down, then they put an amendment under a pool bill to get it passed, and so it died. But we know, just like the bourbon barrel tax, it's coming back. It'll be back in the next session, so we got to fight this thing. And it just depends. I just think the citizens need to have an input of what's going on in their community. And you could have Airbnbs all up in the street. Do you want 100 of them? You got people coming in as a tourist attraction. It's a good thing for the community, but it's not fair to the hotels, motels, first of all, because our tourist commission is having a hell of a time collecting the taxes, because they're supposed to pay a motel tax, room tax, just like the motels do, 3%. And the tourist commission that collects that, it actually comes through the county government. It goes to the tourist commission that they use for all their resources and expanding, and they've done an excellent job. And I've been working with the tourist commission, and matter of fact, we're going to be meeting here next week or so about their budget process, and they've really worked with me. Got some new leadership there, and over the next year or 2 or 3, hopefully we'll expand it even more, because there's the resources there that we can do a lot of things with the tourism. But it's the people that's traveling paying that. It's not local tax. It's just like everywhere you go, they're paying it. So the motel industry is it's not fair to them. And people come in and want to visit and travel using Airbnbs. That's fine, but they need to be paying their own way too. So I actually get complaints quite often in the masters too about somebody wanting to put an Airbnb beside their house. I don't think it's a rule, but it's kind of unwritten policy that they've taken, that if it's in a subdivision setting, they're not passing them. But if this law passes in the state, we have no say in it whatsoever. So that's a big deal for me when you take the local people's influence out of it or opinions out of it, and so it's a battle. But right now it didn't pass, so that's good news for today.
We have got a caller here on the line. Are those headphones working fine for you?
I think so. I can hear me. I don't know if I can hear you, but yeah, I'm good.
All right, well, let's see here. You're on the air, sir, or madam?
Mr. Hutchins, I understand about the Airbnb. I think we have enough of those as well. But I think another issue we have is too many bars. They always say we don't want to be a little Nashville. Well, what have we got down in Bardstown now? We got a little Nashville. And I actually think that's hurting our local bars that's been here for years. And they're not respecting them. And I know these other people may be bringing in more tax dollars, but we were still bringing in our tax dollars with our local bars. Now, that's my opinion. I think we've become a little Nashville, and it's all about bourbon anymore. I just think that's wrong.
Yeah, I think, the bourbon is true. We've had on this barrel tax that we fought that battle, and of course we got it extended, but we still don't lose revenue. We're down about $40,000 right now in this year's budget that we haven't collected on the barrel tax revenue. And I was talking to our treasurer the last few days about that. Probably, and we know for sure it's 200 something. It may be close to 400 something. It really affects our local budget, and so it's a big deal when it comes to our general fund. As far as you're talking about the bars and stuff in the city of Bardstown. Now that I'm not sure what zoning they would fall under, but that would be a Bardstown City Council subject. I mean, if you want to talk about it somehow, I don't know if they could restrict how many would go in. I really don't know, but I do understand where you're coming from. There is several of them. It looks to me like there's more coming all the time, and I don't really know how some of them survive. Really, there's a lot of competition, but I understand your concern, and I would suggest that, and I'll talk to the mayor about it. I don't think he can do anything about it, but I will bring it up to him.
Mr. Hutchins, I appreciate that, and you're exactly right. There's too much competition. They're just hurting each other, and I'm sure right now each of them are slow. But, I mean, the ones that are coming in now aren't even local people. They're bringing them out of our Nelson County and bringing them into our town. And I just think that's wrong. I think we need to respect our local people, our bars, our restaurants that have been here forever. It's making it hard for them to survive right now. That's just my opinion. I appreciate you listening to me.
Ma'am.
And yes, City of Bardstown can say, yes, who can come and who can't come. And they're the ones that have brought all these bars into our downtown area. Thank you again, and thank you for listening to me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Back on that subject a little bit, the free enterprise side of it, I think what I've always said, and most people seem to think, you want to try to support local as much as you can. And back to that subject with her, it said be pretty tough, I think, not to criticize her by any means, but it'd be pretty tough to say that you can come in because you live here and another person can't come here, you don't live here. But I can see where it is a problem. Back to the Airbnbs, that's where the big problem has arisen, because we have so many accolades in the Nelson County and Bardstown. We got all these awards all over the nation and even the world. I mean, Stacy at the tourism with that new system they got, they'll tell you how many hits they get, people looking at Bardstown and Nelson County and everything we have to offer. There's a lot of tourism here. So if you're an investor in these investment companies and they go in and see a house for sale and they dial into it, sight unseen in a lot of cases, and they buy a home, Airbnb, and it's taking away homes for sale for our local residents. We know there's a shortage, especially affordable homes, so it's a bigger problem probably than the average person sees. And you got some of the families and their children trying to buy homes, and there's none available, and the Airbnb companies or investors are going in and buying them sight unseen, and with this tourism that they use them, I guess opportunity they can make a lot of money. So it's a problem, but we definitely don't want to lose our local influence. I hate to use the word control, but our local influence, I think it's a big deal.
I think, I'd say local advocacy really is the biggest way you could describe that, because it's not just a few people locally having control of what goes on where, but it's a chance for anyone living locally who's concerned to voice their concerns about it.
Well, the input, we passed the bourbon, it's a PUD, but it's through the zoning side of it when we put the new. It was a hell of a battle. I'm not going to deny it. We fought on this barrel thing. Then we put, as far as the warehouses coming in and better, we wrote up some new language, and we passed it. And it was back in 2015, I think, when he started it, where they took it out, where the local public hearings, they got exempted, the warehouses, the bourbon warehouses. Well, we put it back in and made it where everybody would have a say, public hearings, meetings. You just can't go in and build a bunch of warehouses next to subdivisions or people living there, and so they would have that you would have a say in it, and that passed, and I think so far it's worked out pretty good, and people basically have a say what's going on in your community. That's what I'm after, and it's passed and it worked out. And it was a battle. I'm not going to say it was easy, but we got it through. Vanessa, we're going to run out of time here, my dear. You're going to have to start talking.
I do want to talk about the building program a little bit before we leave. I know I do have a few contractors that are always kind of concerned or curious because John is on contract, so he's not a county employee right now. So we have to bring him over as inspections are needed. So right now we're trying to do it on Thursdays and Fridays. So a lot of them are like, well, I can't get it on Monday or Tuesday, and I'm just trying to put that out and let them understand that we are kind of still slow on the building side. It hasn't picked up enough to have a full-time employee yet, and therefore that's why we are sticking to the Thursday and Friday inspections. If there's an emergency or something, yeah, we can probably work it out with John for him to come over, and I could adjust some, schedules to do it on a Monday or Tuesday to try to make it work. So, I really haven't had any complaints on that, but I know they've questioned that a few times. But I will say everybody has really enjoyed working with John. I hope we can keep him for a while. He is retired from the city of Lebanon, so he's kind of just doing this because he didn't want to get completely out of it. I know at the beginning of, it was January of 24, we really noticed the permits slowing down, and that's when Logan was still on board with us as the inspector, and all of last year it was slow. And I'm hoping this year we'll start to turn around, but I'm not sure. I think next year will be building a lot better. It'll be a lot more permits coming in, but we will just roll with what we're doing. It's working, and I don't really ever hear any complaints on that side. So but if you all as contractors out there, homeowners, have any questions on the building side, you can also call me.
Yeah, if we got any complaints, we want to work
them out.
We don't want to we don't want to be restrictive. A lot of it's interpretation. You got to follow the book, and safety, especially when it comes to electrical and disasters and weight bearing, low weights, and so on. So I think it's all the people I've talked to, it's working pretty good. The new iWork system that Vanessa and them put in, that's eventually we think we can get them where they can actually go online and do a lot of permitting. Some counties are doing that, and as they get trained and understand it, they can just go online and send them in to her, and they can pay online. And I don't know if you got it where they can pay online yet.
No, they will not pay online. I will call them to get the payment, or they will call me to get the payment. And a lot of people are actually doing the permitting online, more electrical than building. Building's a little more, they can do it, but they kind of like to come in and talk about it because you need a little more direction and guidance on that part. I do want to, make it aware to the county that we are no longer doing 5-day letters. Most of the counties surrounding us do not do 5-day letters, and with the iWork system, to let you know what a 5-day letter is, it's if you have storm damage or anything, if you had the 5-day letter, you could get the.
You don't think he knows what a 5-day letter is?
Yeah, no, it's just
Come on,
the
Ryan.
way he looked at me. I was just like, I better explain this because a lot of people probably don't.
I didn't know until you explained it to me, to be
Yes.
quite honest about it.
So if you have storm damage, you could have went online, easily pulled a 5-day letter, had the repairs done, and that gives you 5 days to get that permit pulled. And our electrical inspector could have called it on, got you power, before that happened. With the iWork system, they don't have to, we don't need that anymore. The iWork system, if you have a repair at 12 o'clock midnight, you can go straight on there, your electrician can go straight on there, pull that permit, and you automatically have your permit pulled. That cuts that 5-day letter out 100%. So, and that's what the other counties that I've talked to, that's the way they're handling it, and it's, it takes a lot of the responsibility off of us and the electrical inspector that way. So that is something that can always easily be done on there. But the iWork system has been great. It's just easier. It's so much easier, and it's, if you have a permit pulled and you have that permit number, you can easily go on there. You can pull the permit number up and you can see, oh, I've had this done at my house, or I've had that done. This passed, that didn't. It's a good way to keep up with the progress of your home.
Yeah, City of Barstown, when they started their program, they put that system in because Vanessa was talking. We coordinated with some E-Town and Hardin County, how they were doing some things when she came in, and planning and zoning, you've got their iWork system going.
Yeah, they
and
have theirs too.
trying to coordinate it better with everybody, and we went through a few little hiccups there, but I think it's better, and it'll continue to get better. And you said they can go online and do the permits, but they can't pay online. So how do they pay?
So when they do it online, it comes through my email and also on the iWork system as an online submission. So when I see that populate, I look it up. I first confirm that it's not city. I always confirm that it is mine. And once I approve it, I will call them to get the payment then. So.
Okay, so that's we just think it's going to continue to get better. So that's but the building total building is down quite a bit in the last few years. Since all the high costs of inflation, the last 4 years of everything, and we don't know what. I just talked to some people at E-Town at the I forget what department it was. We did a survey type thing, and affordable homes. You've heard about it in Central Kentucky Community Action is working with that Lincoln Trail Area Development District, and Senator Higgin, he's on. I think he might be chairman of the committee. They're trying to pass some legislation, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, is just the cost of the materials in the last 4 years because inflation's went so high under the past, administration in Washington. Everything just went so crazy high. So I don't know if that'll come down a little bit, level off. If you go out and develop property and buy land and put in the subdivision, to say it costs the development cost is extremely high. It's hard to find. If you go out today and build a new subdivision, just about every lot is going to be $60,000 to $70,000 before you even get started, and the cost of construction is so high. So you're trying to. People ask me all the time. We're trying to get $160,000, $70,000 house. It's hard. It's hard to get one built at that price level. You just can't hardly do it. I mean. So I've told them hopefully we'll set up a committee and try to come up, I think, a public-private partnership type thing on home building. I've reached out to them, and I think hopefully we can set up a committee up in this Lincoln Trail area district, and there's ways I think you can do it, get our homes a little cheaper, but it's going to take a unified effort to get it down there, or people's just not going to be able to afford these $300,000 and $400,000 houses. Just can't do it. So there's a lot of work to be done. We eventually the inflation is, I think it's already started catching up with us. So you can talk about these tariffs and all these things on the national level, the cost of everything, and in my opinion, again, I think short-term things are probably going to go up a little more. Hopefully, long-term, to get more stuff produced and made in this country. I don't know if everybody can agree or disagree on the policies, but that some of the prices will come down, and I don't know if they'll come down to what it was 4 years ago when it started, but they're pretty high. And you got your fixed costs, your labor and your insurance, workman's comp and all that. Insurance, especially you see what's going on with all these floods across the state, the insurance policies and premiums with everybody has risen and risen and risen, and I don't see where that's going to get any better either. So it takes a lot to live nowadays, So anyway, Vanessa's doing a great job. No more calls. We got 3 minutes left before Ryan cuts me off. We want to. Next week, I don't know. I'm trying to set my schedules up, Ryan. So every few weeks out, I'll have somebody different. We had the magistrate doing here and emergency service. I got a ton of people we can bring on every week and talk and just let everybody know what's going on in the community, basically. And if you have any questions, but anytime anybody wants to call and ask anything, 348-1800. What's your number?
348-1862.
1862. If they got anything on the building side, nuisance side, junk, trash, we're working diligently trying to get all this stuff cleaned up for the community. But we've been through a rough time here. It's been a pretty nasty winter. All the ice storms and the water, and then we had the flooding about a month or so ago. And this one here, it's been pretty tough. But all of our fire departments and our EMA director Brad Metcalf and road departments and and police and ambulance. We just had such a, I hate to mention one because I'll leave somebody out, but they've all worked really hand in hand, done a great job. And then that press conference tonight at 4 o'clock live at the fiscal courtroom, and I encourage anybody wants to be there, we'll put that on we'll have it on our Facebook Live at the same time, and try to get to FEMA. We'll have a meeting probably with FEMA here in the next few days, a direct meeting with me and my people, so we exactly know what everybody, nobody knows until it hits home. You don't realize how bad it is till you get in there and really see it. Thank you to Joe Hill's Power Sports again for sponsoring this show. And Ryan, thank you, and Vanessa for being here. And anytime anybody wants to make a call, we'll be back next week, every Tuesday at 11. I don't know what's going to happen when I happen to take a day off or something. Can you cover me?
I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah,
I'll get you set over this side and get Roth over there and ask you questions.
Yeah, certainly.
I'm sure he'll leave you a list.
I'll leave you a list.
Absolutely, plenty of information to cover. All right, well, that's going to do it for Around the County. Here with Judge Executive Tim Hutchins right here on WBRT. You've got your noon newscast coming right up next.